जन्म की दुख विसरावे अंत काल प्रेम से बोले श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय. Very wonderful, very vibrant rendition of Hanuman Chalisa this morning, lending out that positive vibration. I'm sure that we all feel uplifted through that rendition. At this juncture, I'd want to invite the teachers of the children's class to take the very many children that I'm seeing here this morning, and I'm very happy to see so many. And that tells us that there's something coming, and we will be hearing about that. So to please move quietly across with the children to the children's class. So all children, those of you who are regular members, those of you who may be here with us for the first time, you're invited to move across with the teachers of the Balvihara class for your instruction and for your preparation this morning. As they do so this morning, I want to once more take the opportunity to welcome everyone to our Sunday morning satsang. Those of you who are here with us, those of you who are viewing us online, and those who will view online after this morning but before next week. There are a number of persons that view after. We extend a very warm welcome to you to our Sunday morning satsang. Before our discussion, our pravachan this morning, a couple things that I would want to firstly I'd ask you to permit me to do. Firstly, yes, last Sunday we had a very, very rainy Sunday morning, but we had a very successful fundraising drive, and I want you to give yourselves a round of applause. And sometimes we ask the question, well, what is success, right? And for some persons, a fundraiser's success is gleaned from the amount of profit or revenue that you've earned, and that is a reasonable yardstick. We don't have that information yet. Persons are still bringing in monies that for tickets sold, and I would want to make the appeal for anyone who has monies still in their possession to please bring those in as quickly as possible so that we could do the accounting and that we can report to you the financial outcome of that fundraiser. So that's one. But success is also measured by the other things that gleaned from that activity. And I must say that this was the first fundraiser that we've had since 2020 with the COVID lockdown. And there was some uncertainty, one, about whether persons would come out, whether persons would patronize, whether persons would patronize tickets. But overwhelmingly, the support from the external parties, that is persons who purchased tickets and who came and patronized the event, was overwhelming. The cutoff time was 11:30. We stayed here until 1:30, and between that time, between around 12 and 1:30, most of the persons had picked up by 11:30 or even before that. Between 11:30 and around 1:30, there were 3 persons that collected, one closer to 1:30. And then somebody called the WhatsApp number at 3:30 to find out if we're still giving out breakfast. But that was too late, obviously, because by then the Bygone Joker wouldn't have done too well. So by that time we had cut off. But the point is, overwhelmingly, persons came and they patronized. Overwhelmingly as well, from all reports, the tasty food and particularly the contents of the package was something that was appealing to all, both in terms of content and presentation. So everybody was over the top with the stickers and the labeling and the packaging, and it was really very well done and of an extremely high standard. I really want to see the committee beat that on the next fundraiser. I don't know how they're going to do that. But that was an endorsement by all and sundry who patronized that it was indeed very, very well done. The vast majority of persons, I haven't heard anything negative, but I'm sure some persons would say, well, you know, there are rooms for suggestions for improvement, and we will take that on board. But finally, in terms of the coming together of persons, both before to make contributions in terms of pumpkin, tomato, sada roti, bygone, whatever it was really marvelous. And I want to really extend our thanks to those persons who did that. And then in the days before and on the day itself, the stakeholders of the Mandir, in terms of the members of the Sri Sivak Sabha, the members of the management committee and so on, and the members of the youth group, and the coming together in such large numbers was, to my mind, unprecedented. And it really brought us together in terms of a family. So I really want to congratulate and commend everybody for that. Because that is what the Mandir is about. It is about family. It is about the Krishna Mandir family. And Pandit Devendra speaks to this from time to time about our family here at the Mandir. And it is something for us to be genuinely proud of, to be appreciative of, and to continue to work towards nurturing that family spirit and that community spirit so that we can help each other in all types of activities, in all types of form, whether it is puja, whether it is yagya, but also in terms of other activities such as the one that we were engaged in. And it was really a marvelous, marvelous event from that. And so I would say it was extremely successful from that point of view. If I were to sit here and to discuss the list of persons, I would be here until tomorrow, but our chairman and our management committee have compiled a list, and thank you letters are prepared and will be sent out to persons who have contributed towards the success. So if, for example, you know you solicited a donation from someone, whether it is pumpkin or baigan or whatever it is, please see the chairman after so that you can collect a thank you letter, and please give it to those persons because we really do appreciate their support. So that is about the fundraiser, and there'll be more you will hear from our treasurer, I'm sure, in the coming weeks about the financial aspect of it once the monies are collected in. Next week, Sunday, the day before Diwali, we will be having our Mandir's Diwali program, and it will be not in the evening as we traditionally have, but it will be part of the Sunday morning satsang. So our Sunday morning service with satsang will start at 8:30 with our invocation and bhajan and so on, and then we will move seamlessly into our Diwali program, which will be spearheaded by the youth group of the Mandir, as has traditionally been the case, and will include the children of the Bal Vihara class. So what you will be seeing next week will be the Diwali program comprising of items from our youth and from our children of our Bal Vihara class and other stakeholders of the Mandir. And that will run from 9 to about 10:30. And after that, you will be served takeaway refreshments so that you can have it in your comfort at home while you're probably looking at a football game or something of that nature. I'm not sure what's on next week, but you will have the ability to do that. So please extend the invitation to your friends and family members. I know it's the day before Diwali, but by then I suspect most of the cleaning should have been done. Whatever else has to be done, and then you will still get home at a reasonable time to make your preparations for the following day. So we look forward to seeing you all with us on that occasion. And then finally, we are in the month of Kartik, and the Purnima will be around the 7th or 8th of November, I think somewhere around there. It's a Tuesday. But as we've been doing in the past, we have looked at doing the puja on the Sunday before, where we can go together so persons who are working would not be precluded. So we will be looking at the 6th of November. We have been given very graciously premises in Mayaro to use, which is on the seaside. So it's safe, it's secure, and you will have the amenities of washrooms and so on there. And even if rain falls, there's a covered area so that we will be protected. There will be some navigating the roadways going there, but that is what it is. Our alternative was Granville, and from reports from Vishnu, that's not an option unless we are going by helicopter, and we can't do that. So the 6th of November, you'll hear more about it in the coming weeks in terms of our celebration, and then you'll be hearing more. Panditji is spearheading a drive for Gita Jayanti, which will be taking place in December. So there are a number of other activities. So the point being, after the climax of Diwali, we hope to see all of you still here with us, continuing on for the rest of the year in our various initiatives and celebrations. I invite you to sit up right now as we begin our pravachan, and we invoke and we contemplate on the form of Lakshmi Mata. Hari Om. Om Namaste Astu Mahamaye Shri Pite Surapujite Shankachakra Garahaste Mahalakshmi Namostute Siddhi Buddhi Prade Devi Bhukti Mukti Pradayani Mantra Murti Sadha Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. The celebration of Diwali has gone beyond the home, the community, the Mandir, nationally. And it is truly one of those festivals and pujas that are observed globally. In the last decade or so, even beyond that, we have seen Diwali celebrations taking place in the White House in the United States. We have seen it taking place with regularity in Buckingham Palace. We have seen it taking place in many, if not all, of the countries of the world. There are certain few that there would be some challenges with, obviously, but it's reached globally. We notice as well that in Trinidad and Tobago, the celebration of Diwali has evolved in a good and sometimes in a concerning way. And we recognize that that evolution will continue to take place, but in the midst of it, we must never lose sight of the roots of this tradition and the roots of this puja and the philosophy upon which it is built and entrenched. That is important. So that even though our younger ones are being exposed to many things that are associated with the celebration of Diwali, they should not lose sight of what the essential traditions and practices are. I remember for my own self, when back in 1992, I was in Barbados at the K-Ville campus studying law, and a group of us as Trinidadians there. There was no Mandir in Barbados. There's one now in the Christchurch area. There was no large Hindu community there by any stretch of the imagination. So a group of us on campus decided to have Diwali celebrations at our home. And we chose to extend the invitation not only to the student body who would come, but also to the faculty who were present at the law school. And in extending that invitation, there were persons of Indian origin who were lecturers there. I know the names of the professors, but I won't call their names. And so we thought it very, a good thing to extend the invitation to them as well. And I had the benefit of extending the invitation to one Indian professor who taught public international law. And when I said, Prof, we're having a Diwali celebration, a big smile came across his face. He said, yes, that's a wonderful thing. He'd be happy, obviously in his Indian accent. I said, and we would like you to come and join with us. And he said, yes, certainly I will come. Should I say this anymore? Anyway, and he said, I will bring a bottle of something with me when I'm coming. I wouldn't say what the something was. It wasn't Panchamrit. It was something else. And I said, well, Professor G, we don't consume those things, particularly at the Diwali celebration. And he was shocked. He said, but we do in India. And I said, well, that may be the tradition that you would follow there, but we respectfully don't follow that tradition. And that really, in 1992, stood out in my mind at the differences by which people would celebrate different things. Even something that was unthinkable for us as Hindus in Trinidad and Tobago. And I have been exposed to different types of persons celebrating in different ways. So the point is, the diversity of the celebration is already there. But what is the basis of the tradition that we follow? And we're all familiar with the fact that Diwali is observed over a 5-day period and beyond. And when we think about what are the 5 days, and I'm sure it's all familiar to you, but I'm just reinforcing what you already know. So the first day will commence on Saturday this year, all right, before Diwali. And it is known as Dhanteras or Dhantrayodashi. And it is the observance or performance of puja, as we would say, to Bhagwan for blessing us with things medicinal and really for wellness, right? That is one of the aspects of it. So wellness, we're praying for good health, for our well-being, medically, physically, and otherwise. Then comes the day before Diwali, which is known as Narak Chaturdashi, and or Choti Diwali, some persons would refer to it as, and that is where, amongst other things, one lights or one pays respect through the form of the Yam Deep, and that puja that is performed. And again, there's a discussion as to where that Yam Deep should be, whether it should be at your entrance, whether it should be at the back of your home, should it be facing south, should there be 4 wicks, or should there be one? So there are many different traditions that are observed. But you were speaking about, and the Katha would go about the perseverance and dedication of the Dulhan, who prayed for her husband so that Yamraj would not take him. And Yamraj was so pleased by her devotion and her chastity and her dedication that he was not able to take her husband. So Yamdi, Yamraj, Narak Chaturdashi. Different kathas associated. But there we're speaking about mortality. And there we're speaking about what comes after and what will be our finite journey on this earth. So it's a different concept entirely. Then on the third day, which we are very familiar with, as we would call Diwali, but Lakshmi Mata Puja. And the association of Lakshmi Mata, when we look at her form, really speaks to prosperity. And when we speak about prosperity, we think about things auspicious, and many people focus on, well, material prosperity, and we focus on the fact that the Murti has these gold coins that are flowing and so on. But it is more than just material prosperity. More than that. And if we look at our Western gurus, so to speak, and we speak about people and productivity and so on, you talk about the hierarchy of needs. And yes, material things are at the base level. Those are the base things that you must need. You must have food, you must have shelter, clothing, and all of that. But then you rise beyond that. So Lakshmi Mata doesn't just focus on the material possessions. You must have that, yes. But more than that, all of those attributes that we would want to have, that will make us enlightened and uplifted souls and persons, where we realize our capability and our potential as individuals, compassion, empathy. All of those things are very, very important through the blessings of Mahalakshmi. And therefore, when we pray and we offer puja on that day of Diwali, it is something that we should all be mindful about. So it's not simply about the wealth in a very material way, but it is the other things that are equally, if not more important for us. The day after Diwali, Govardhan Puja, and we know the katha associated with Prabhu Shri Krishna in terms of the villagers and their worshipping and offering puja to Lord Indra, and his intervention to say, why Lord Indra, why not Govardhan Parvat? And the consequences that flowed from that, and Lord Krishna's protection using Govardhan. But again, that speaks to more than just that literal story. It speaks about our interdependence with our surroundings, our physical surroundings, about our ecology and our recognition of that, and how we must live in harmony to reap the benefits. And we see the dire consequences of when we don't do that. Flooding, climate change, global warming, you name it. Those things that touch us in a very, very real way, especially this year. Now, from the time you see dark clouds gathering, people become very worried. Am I going to be flooded out? Am I going to lose my crops? Is my car going to be submerged? We saw the loss of life this year on more than one occasion through flooding. And therefore, it should be a very real reminder to us about how we should live in harmony with our ecology. So that's a different thought. And then finally, on the second day after Diwali, which will take place on Wednesday, Bhai Dooj. And that is the renewal of that relationship between brothers and sisters in a very meaningful and very positive way, whereby that bond through the medium of puja and through the medium of visiting and offering of gifts and exchange of gifts and so on, and hospitality is renewed. And again, we recognize that we are not islands by ourselves, but we need those physical relationships with others, particularly our siblings, and to understand the nurturing effect of that. That is a very, very powerful thing. So if we think of the 5 days, one would grasp that these are very different concepts of the 5 days of Diwali. Very different concepts. But there's a common thread running through all of them. And the common thread is that they're all positive and uplifting concepts. Each of them, different as they may be, are positive and uplifting concepts. And that is the whole premise upon which the celebration of Diwali is built. When we speak about truth over untruth, of light over darkness, of immortality over death, when we speak about the emergence of Lakshmi Mata in the churning of the ocean, when we speak about the killing of the demons, Narakasur, when we speak about the return of Prabhu Shri Ram, whichever katha that is associated with Diwali that we focus on, they are all uplifting, they are all positive. And so, regardless of how Diwali is observed, those are the concepts that should remain true. We should recognize what we do and why we do it. And that's why it is so very important to not focus too much on the peripherals. Too often times, we approach Diwali and there's the mad rush to clean everything. We have to pressure wash the yard, we have to paint the fence, we have to polish all of the furniture. I remember for weeks after when I was younger smelling like Osida polish because you were polishing everything. And you got lost because come Diwali day, you're just really exhausted from all of this cleaning. You know, scrub the steps, scrub the yard, all of that. I don't know if the young people still do that anymore, but I have grated knuckles that remind me of that. That's why I made the pledge whenever I was building my home, I was not having any outside step because I didn't want to scrub any more step in my life. The point is, there's a lot of focus on that. Change the curtains, do the this, do the that, and so on. And that's important, but is that confined to Diwali alone? That whole concept of cleanliness is something that is integral to our very being. It should be a daily part of our existence. It should not be a major event. And I try to imbue that in my own children. How many of you have teenagers and you tell them, keep your room clean? And it becomes a major event. Well, I have to clean my room, I have to clean my cupboard. But if you keep doing it regularly, then it's not a major event. It's something that you're doing all of the time. It's part of you. And that concept of cleanliness is part of our makeup as Sanatana Hindus. We focus then on the festivities. So we have to have the 1,000,001 Diyas, we have to have the electric lights, we have to have the, unfortunately, the fireworks, and I really hope that that's on the decline. And then the focus becomes that. Nothing wrong with being gay and festive and all of those things, that's important, but that's not the focus because you buy a couple hundred Diyas and then rain falls on the day itself. What happens then? Well, I should have buy the electric ones and those things. But that whole beautification and gaiety should also be part of our daily existence and our daily lives. We should not be walking around in a somber way. We should not have our place unless there are certain events that cause that. But in a genuine way, on a daily basis, that should be our demeanor. We smile, we're gay, we're festive, we are happy. That's who we are. That's who we should be. Then comes the community aspect. Well, we're ordering the bishop shot and so on, weeks in advance. All of those outlets, I won't call the names because we're online, I don't want to be accused of unfair marketing. Long lines of people in the morning, ordering bishop shot from way in advance, dal puri and whatever else. Buying all of the takariakan and spending, unfortunately, the majority of the day in the kitchen preparing all of these foods. Sounds familiar? A whole host of dishes because the children inviting their friends and the family who are coming over and neighbors and whatever else. And that's a wonderful thing. That is a wonderful thing. But then the focus becomes that. And how many mothers, and now we're in the 21st century, and fathers have spent the day in the kitchen making all of the various delicacies and so on. And at the end of the day, you are so tired. You're so tired. And it becomes so tired that the focus of what the day should be is kind of put in the background. And therefore there's nothing wrong. You invite persons according to your means and you do what you can, then you share the food and the sweetmeats and so on. That's wonderful, the mithai and all of that. But it should not be all-consuming to your detriment and that of your family. Because the most important thing to me on that day is the performance with your family of puja to Lakshmi Mata. And sometimes we lose sight of that because the pot's still chunking and the yard still need to wash down and the diyas need to be soaked and put out and all of that. And the puja to Lakshmi Mata is lost somewhere there at all. And that really should be the driving force of the day. So that in planning your day, yes, have those things, that's fine, but ensure that you set aside time. You set aside the time that you will sit with your family members and you will perform that puja. So that it is uninterrupted, it is focused, it is deliberate, it is done with the same meticulous care and preparation as your sahina, when you're making sure everything right and the leaves properly rolled and whatever else. Same sort of mindset, even more, because that is the focus of the day. And then anything else will come after that. Because your children need to understand why. We enjoy a public holiday here in Trinidad and Tobago, but persons in other countries don't. And so does that preclude them from observing Diwali? It doesn't. But they have to adjust because of their circumstance. You can't light theirs outside in Toronto. The breeze will blow it out, it's too cold. So you have to do things that are different. But it does not preclude the essence of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So as much as things evolve, and we can't sit back in Trinidad and Tobago and say they're not evolving, they are. Because I'm sure many persons have now planned when they're going to Diwali Nagar. And I know I'm dreading the highway because the amount of traffic that is caused by it is crazy. And that has now become part of the fabric or the landscape of the celebration of Diwali, not only for us but for everybody else. And this year you're going to have the reopening where in every place, in every school, in every community, you're going to have some Diwali celebration. And that's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing because it shares that wonderful message. But we must remember what the message is. And the message is, even though there are diverse thoughts across the 5 days, they are all common in thread. Positivity, uplifting. Not only for ourselves, but for others as well. And when we celebrate this festival, this wonderful festival, it is not only on an individual level, it is a family and community level. And the theme of light over darkness is more than just literal. That is why Diwali is celebrated on the night it is. It is supposed to represent the darkest night in the month of Kartik. Symbolically, hence the reason that the diyas are lit that night. To symbolically show that light and triumph of light over darkness. But more than that, we, each of us, are that light. And when we go into environments in which we could shed that light and illumine those around us and situations around us, then we need to be prepared like that diya, that you would soak and that you would dry and that you would have the wick prepared and you would have the oil or the ghee or whatever. All of that preparation that goes into that one diya for that moment is the same sort of concept that we should be preparing ourselves so that when we are in a moment of darkness, when we are in a situation of darkness, that we will be that light to remove that darkness. And that is really where we are aiming at. And one would argue that in our country right now we are enveloped in darkness in so many different places and so many different ways, but all it takes is one light, just one light. And you will see the difference it will make. And that is the beauty of our philosophy and our tradition. So it starts with us, and then it radiates throughout. So this is my very brief message this morning, because I'm sure you're hearing a whole lot of different katha and different messages and so on. But it was just a thought that struck me that, you know, we celebrate these 5 days and they seem so very different. Of course, there are different schools of thought, different interpretations. This is just my humble view. And I would urge you to think about it and reflect upon it that way. But more than that, 2 things. Reflect upon those 5 days and what they mean for you. How you can put some of those things into your daily practice, whether it is the whole concept of well-being and wellness, whether it is your relationship with the environment and what we do and those kinds of things. Those are little small steps that make a huge difference. Yes? Those kinds of things. And also about what we could do to improve ourselves and uplift ourselves so that we in turn can shed light on a situation that will allow darkness to be dispelled. And when we look around us, really, there are so many unfortunate events. We're seeing persons losing their lives over a car park. We're seeing persons losing their lives over a little accident. and those are things that really boggles the mind. Is this really the darkness into which we've descended? And each of us in our own way can make that difference. Prem Swali Mahalakshmi Mata Ki Jai. So I'll hand back over to the members of the group. As they engage in kirtan, we invite you to come forward. Remember, you don't need the gloves now, but please sanitize, both on going and coming back, and then resume your seats after you've finished your arti.
We join in reciting the mantras of the Mahalakshmi Ashtakam.
सर्वज्ञे सर्ववरे हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे
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 ओ बचा कर यही नाम मन बाबरे
बजा कर यही नाम मन भावरे
ओ बचा कर यही नाम मन बाबरे
बजा कर यही नाम मन भावरे
हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे
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 तेरी माया की छाया सदा ही रहे
तेरी माया से छाया सजा ही धरे
तेरी माया की छाया सदा ही रहे
तेरी माया से छाया सदा ही धरे
ओ राम नाम से भव भय बंधन करे
ओ राम नाम से भव भय के बंधन करे
ओ राम नाम से भव भय बंधन हरे
ओ राम नाम से भव भय के बंधन करे
ओ बचा कर यही नाम मन बाबरे
ओ बजा कर यही नाम मन भावरे
हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे
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 तेरी सुंदर सलोनी छवि मन को भरे
मेरी सुंदर सलोनी छवि मन को हरे
तेरी सुंदर सलोनी छवि मन को भरे
मेरी सुंदर सलोनी मेरे मन को हरे
तेरे चरणों में लक्ष्मी सदा ही रहे
तेरे चरणों में साने की काया भरे
तेरे चरणों में लक्ष्मी सदा ही रहे
तेरे चरणों में लक्ष्मी से काया भरे
ओ बचा कर यही नाम मन बाबरे
लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। सबकी नैया होठों से तू ही तारती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। सबकी नैया होठों से तू ही तारती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। लक्ष्मी मैया अनधन देने वाली तू ही जग को पाली। अनधन देने वाली तू ही जग को पाले। दया से तेरी हम सब जीवे, सबको तू संभाले। दया से तेरी हम सब जीवे, सबको तू संभाले। लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। लक्ष्मी मैया तेरी भक्ति जागी दिल में, निश दिन करके वंदन। तेरी भक्ति जागी दिल में, निश दिन करते वंदन। तू है शक्ति परमेश्वर की, बातों सबकी बंधन। तू है शक्ति परमेश्वर की, बातों सबके बंधन। लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। लक्ष्मी मैया प्रेम का दीप जला के मैया आरती तेरी उतारी। प्रेम का दीप जला के मैया आरती तेरी उतारे। जग ज्योति कष्ट निवारी, हर ले नाम दियारी। हे जग ज्योति कष्ट निवारी, हर ले नाम दियारी। लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। लक्ष्मी मैया शरण तिहारी आई मैया, मंगल की रत गाई। शरण तिहारी आई मैया, मंगल की रत गाए। हाथ जोड़ हम विनती करके चरणन शीश झुकाए। हाथ जोड़ हम विनती करके चरणन शीश झुकाए। लक्ष्मी मैया उतारी तेरी आरती, बरसा दो माँ कृपा। सबकी मैया दुखों से तू ही तारती,
जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि
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 नारायण नारायण हरि हरि
स्वामी नारायण नारायण हरि हरि
तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि
तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी
तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि
तेरी लीला
तेरी महिमा प्रभु है प्यारी प्यारी हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि अलख निरंजन भवभय भंजन जन मन रंजन दाता
जगदीश्वरी
Prem se bole Jagadamba Devi Maya ki jai. And I just want to draw the attention of all of the young people who are sitting on the benches. I would like to see you all next week sitting on the ground. So parents, please, when you come in, have the children sit on the floor, because the continuity that we expect in terms of our bhajan group starts there. So once they sit, they will feel part of the family, and they will feel part of the community, and they will feel that encouragement to join in and to sing as well. So we look forward to seeing a more packed front area from next week Sunday onwards. Next week is the Diwali program. That's okay. Okay, so from the following week, I'm reminded. Sorry about that. So I'll hand over to Vishnu for our announcements this morning, to be followed by Arti and closing prayer.
Sitaram, dear devotees. Once again, it's really a pleasure to see so many of you all here this morning, especially those parents who have brought the children to rehearse and so on. We are looking forward to this Diwali program. So it's very, very nice to see so many of you all here this morning. We just have a few announcements. For those who still have outstanding money for our tickets and so on, we'd like you to please bring in those monies so we could tabulate our fundraiser, and we'll give you all a report. And I would like to join Pandit in congratulating all of us here who took part in the fundraiser. It was a very wonderful experience. I was there, and it was so heartening to see so many of you all here taking part and working for our Mandir, because this is our Mandir and the Krishna Mandir family. So once again, we thank you all very much for that. And Pandit has told you that on Diwali morning, we want to be here from 9 a.m. 8 a.m. So we're starting a bit earlier, and we have a list of all the ingredients that you are required to bring to perform your individual puja here. So you could check on the site, or you could see us after, and we'll let you know all what you have to bring, and come and join us in puja on Diwali morning. All right? So with these few words, I think we want to... Next week Sunday. Okay, and as we were preparing here, so next week Sunday, just after service, we are starting at normal time, and then we go smoothly into our Diwali program, which the children of the youth group, led by Jayanti, will be entertaining us. So we look forward to that next week Sunday morning service. It's going to be a special service to charge us up for Diwali. All right? So once again, we thank you all for coming, and for all those who want to give donations to the Mandir, you know, we always welcome these donations. It's to keep up the Mandir. Please see us at the... And that's so true, you know, that we need those donations. That's the explosion.
हे अनधन की महारानी, ओ जय लक्ष्मी रानी, तुझे घर घर पूजे प्राणी, ओ जय लक्ष्मी रानी। हे अनधन की महारानी, ओ जय लक्ष्मी रानी, तुझे घर घर पूजे प्राणी, ओ जय लक्ष्मी। मंदिर तिहारा चम चम करे,
हम मांगते माँ सोना का हार, हम मांगते माँ चांदी का हार, हम मांगते माँ सोना का हार, हम मांगते माँ चांदी का हार। हम जो बखत इतना मांगते, भूखा न कोई सोई यहाँ, सबकी रखना निगरानी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी, ये अनधन की महारानी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी। मन से जो माँ की पूजा करे, माँ उसकी सारी दुखड़ी हरे। मन से जो माँ की पूजा करे, माँ उसकी सारी दुखड़ी हरे। गिरती हवा की किस्मत को माँ, झरती कड़ी और बहती कड़ी, कोई देवी न तुझी से रानी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी, हे अनधन की महारानी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी। तुझे घर घर पूजे प्राणी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी, हे अनधन की महारानी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी। तुझे घर घर पूजे प्राणी, मुझे लक्ष्मी रानी।
You are everything to us. Let us surrender ourselves now to Bhagavan. Hari Om. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय। Turn to those around you, सब कोई जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम। We look forward to seeing you with us next week Sunday, as was said, for our very special Diwali service. Starting at 8:30 will be our service, and then the Diwali program starts at 9. And then the following day on Diwali morning, we look forward to you joining with us for individual Lakshmi Mata Puja. That will start at 8 a.m. So please get here just a little bit before so that we can prepare ourselves. And we will conclude by 9 on that morning. Sitaram everyone. Sab koi. You're also invited to attend the Diwali program that will be held this Thursday from 6 p.m. at the SSL compound on Sutton Street. So it's a community Diwali program. You're all invited to attend. So that's this Thursday from 6 p.m. at the SSL compound on Sutton Street in San Fernando. Jai Sitaram, everyone.